And now for the extra sacrifice to go with the rabbit stew. Pull the lever.
Boom.
Pull the lever. You
You
might want to move.
Man.
You'll be killed anyway.
You might want to move.
Aaron,
What?
apparently, if you restrict the flow to the boss, he falls asleep.
I don't think your plan worked.
Yes, it did.
Hold on.
Just some
Just
minor
like the
difficulties.
I already died in lava, you son of a bitch.
Well, sacrifice. Hello, everyone. My name is Volathis, and this is Just Building. We're back on working on the castle. So, as you can see, starting back into it, I started to work on the upper level, which would be kind of the royal family slash a little less public section of this castle. And I really wanted to make sure that it was upper level, but at the same time kind of not really seen by the public. And as you can see, I'm using the very common stone blocks that I typically like to use. And as you can see there, I had to correct my mistake a little bit. Went a little over distance on what I wanted that frame to look like. And as you can see, I really quick filled in that outline of the frame I was going for. After that, I proceeded to work on the floor for the first level of this little area, and I started to do the wood planks that I usually use, and it took me a few tries to get it the way I thought I wanted it to look, and ultimately I decided that the stone bricks was going to be underneath, and then I was going to put the oak wood planks on top of that, just to give it more of a hidden look. In fact, I even, after I lined out the oak with that, I tried to make sure to put the stone bricks in front so no one could really tell what was going on up there. I wanted to make it so this area was in a way secluded, and unless you were with the right crowd, you weren't going to be going up there and seeing what went on up there. I also tried to make sure that those corners that I had designated in the back were going to be untouched, because of course those corners are going to be used to reach these upper levels. And from there I took somewhat of a little break, because I like to do that so much, is when I'm building these things is I will get so caught up of it, and the next thing I know I just see something off to the side and I decided to work on something for a little bit. But I worked on the stained glass, and that blood kind of design, I tried to see if I could improve it, tried some different shapes here and there, and ultimately I simply decided to take it out, and it was simply going to be the yellow crown in the blue stained glass, and that was the ultimate design for that window. After that, I went straight back to finishing the first level floor, and I have to say that filling in these floors might be very tedious, but I feel like those are sometimes the most enjoyable moments for me. I set a very simple goal, such as, for this example would be, I'm going to finish this floor and it's going to be filled, and I can watch it slowly fill in and all that, but I made sure to continue it while keeping the integrity of it. And as you guys already know, it does take, at least since I do most of the building on my own, because it's a lot easier for me to figure this stuff out. It takes a while, but at the same time I enjoy the finished product. After that, I came up with an idea that I was going to have a kind of walkway from the first level that the king or queen, mainly the royal family, or perhaps occasionally a religious figure, I'm not sure if I want to add a church later, but I was going to have this little walkway here. As you can see, I was mapping it out, and I punched that hole there so they could go out and present themselves to the public in other ways, such as announcements or anything. Kind of reminds me of how, people wait outside for the Pope at a Vatican or whatever, stuff like that. And as you can see, I used stone brick as usual for the main course. And it was a very thin path, obviously. I didn't really want to have a bunch of people to go in and out. It's only supposed to really be the royal family or someone of great importance. And I mapped that out real quick, and as well as put in oak wood planks for the walkway above, which of course down below no one can see if someone's in the walkway or not. After that, I proceeded to finish the walkway walls as well as at least the entryway on one side, just to get that out of the way. From there, I went on to work on the platform area, which it took a little bit to figure out. First off, I worked on the shape of it, started out with oak wood planks, and decided to use stone brick, at least for the outline of it. And next was the fences that were going to outline it, which of course you don't want someone falling over. I used just about every fence type. I tried out jungle wood, oak wood, I even did the nether brick fence, and as well as I ultimately went with a spruce wood for the outline. I think it looked a lot better, but definitely want to make sure I had that fence up there, no one standing on the platform and then suddenly fall off. After that, I started to work on what would be the stained glass windows. And first thing I did, of course, was outline the window. Made sure it was roughly the same as the one that was in the middle of the castle, but at the same time, wanted to make sure it was more relatively the same, but not the same at the same time, I guess. Obvious for these designs, I did more just each window was going to be a solid color, not any designs or anything like that. They were 2 blocks above the floor as well as 2 blocks below the lower level. Sorry about that. And I used colors for the first set was blue, green, and yellow, and then on the other side I did red, magenta, which is about the closest they had to purple, of course, and orange. And I also made sure to put in the little special knots. So obviously, like I said, all these would be solid colored stained windows. After that, I proceeded to make the stairs, which would lead to the upper level, starting off by, of course, finishing the corners out first, and then proceeding to actually make the stairs, of course. And of course, the original plan with these stairs is that on both sides would go all the way to the top of the building, and these would be the only real access to gain to the roof. And as you can see in this video, unfortunately, the problem with that too is the fact that if it's raining, it's going to be raining down those stairs. But I used the stone brick stairs as well as a kind of a stone brick slab, and just kind of made a sort of a makeshift spiral staircase, and proceeded to finish that up and make sure it was level with the upper level. After that, I went straight back to finishing the first level floor, and I have to say that filling in these floors might be very tedious, but I feel like those are sometimes the most enjoyable moments for me. I set a very simple goal, such as, for this example would be, I'm going to finish this floor and it's going to be filled, and I can watch it slowly fill in and all that. But I made sure to continue it while keeping the integrity of it, and as you guys already know, it does take, at least since I do most of the building on my own, because it's a lot easier for me to figure this stuff out. It takes a while, but at the same time I enjoy the finished product. After that, I went on to basically finish extending that upper level wall to the height of the ceiling, as well as marking off kind of the general entrance up here. Later on, I make sort of a guard slash check-in area before you go into this area. The area that this was going to serve two purposes. It was basically not only a royal dining room, but also was going to serve as a kind of a war room setting. So if the king were to discuss with his generals or army about next plan of action, this is where everyone would meet, and as well as get a good royal dinner. Perhaps embassies could come over and meet there as well, but it was basically meant for that purpose. After that, I started working on the ceiling of this room. I didn't want this to be the only room in this entire castle. I wanted, of course, there to be more rooms. So I worked on making sure that that was walled off. And then I also went to the other side where this was going to be labeled to me as the kind of private tower. And this was mostly meant, like I said before, for royal family and all that. So I went over there and walled off that one entranceway to the walkway. Basically wanted to kind of keep the same thing going. One side of this is for the public, while the other side may be for the royal family, and basically designating that sort of kind of separation. And it took me a few attempts to get the stone slabs I wanted into place to make sure that when they went into the royal corner that it could walk over to the royal entrance to the walkway as well. And after that, using spruce fence posts and wooden slabs, I started to work on the table. And the first thing I did was do a rough estimate of the length using those fence posts as markers, and then started to work on the width. And once I'd gotten kind of an idea of how long this table, which I did have plans for it to be a big table, I went ahead and started to lay what would be kind of the legs for this thing. And after I laid down the middle of that, I punched out every other fence post, because you don't really see a table having just lines of legs. They're usually spaced out. And after I'd done that, I went ahead and laid the spruce wooden slabs on top of it for the base of the table. After I finished making the table, I noticed that the ceiling was kind of low. So real quickly, I went back and started working on that. I ended up raising the ceiling exactly 2 blocks higher to give it more of a better look. After that, I went to work on the chairs for this table, which obviously is not a realistic approach. I even tried to see if I could lay red carpet across the table to kind of look like a drape, but since I used slabs, that obviously wasn't going to work. So I moved on to the chairs. I tried placing them a block higher just to see if that would work, but ultimately it ends up putting you above the table, which wouldn't look right at all. And after that, I basically spaced them around the table, making sure that the chairs were not connected, so you'd be so the person sitting wouldn't have a table like between your chairs. I've had to sit like that many times, and I can tell you that is not comfortable at all. And obviously, royalty aren't going to put up with that at all. So we will end the episode there. Still a lot more to come with that. Probably next episode is going to be as long as I am going to make it. I don't think I'm going to hit a 15-minute goal. It's probably going to be longer. I just wanted to make sure that this series doesn't really keep focusing on this castle. I wanted to expand, and obviously 3 episodes on one building is quite a lot, especially considering how much work was put into it and all that. So obviously next episode will be it for the castle, and then we will move on and keep building. Obviously I still got to build around the castle, but that'll be different episodes. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment down below, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in the next video. And as always, stay magical.